Have you figured out, I know as a Republican, you guys are all kicking this around, what are you allowed to criticize Kamala Harris on?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. She's been a dismal failure as everybody called her the border czar, and now for some reason they can't say czar. It's offensive. She, 14 million people have come over the border. She was put in charge of that by President Biden. She was reminded on a TV show that she has not even been to the border, and she said, "Well, I've been to Europe," and it's a joke, man. She, I don't care what color she is. I don't care that she's a woman. She is terrible. She has failed at everything she's done since she's been in Washington. The speeches she's given have been an embarrassment. And people compare her to me. I'm a congressman, dadgummit. I'm not somebody who's in line.
Were they trying to insult her?
Yeah, I guess. Hey man, leave the comedy to me, okay, Leland? You're an amateur, okay? You are an amateur. And the point that she's at a sorority thing tonight, I think that's great. Black fraternities and black sororities are a uniquely united bunch of folks, and it's a real sisterhood, and it's a very tight-knit group.
Ask this. The one thing that could change this, right, is whoever her vice presidential pick is. And they're looking to that she's got the progressive base, which she speaks to and which her issue set is now firmly about. You point that out. Economic justice, social justice, health justice, whatever. Potential Harris VP picks. Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, the astronaut. Roy Cooper, governor of North Carolina, won in a red state, blue governor. Andy Beshear, governor of Kentucky, won in even a redder state as a Democrat. Josh Shapiro, first Jewish vice president if he's elected, from Pennsylvania. J.B. Pritzker, no chance, from governor of Illinois. Pete Buttigieg, there you go. And here is, I guess you could say, the dark horse, because nobody's talking about it, but I'll put it up. Admiral William McRaven, he's the guy who led Operation Neptune Spear, the bin Laden raid, and the Make Your Bed speech from the University of Texas. Which one of those, and you got to pick one, scares you the most as a Republican?
I'd say Mark Kelly. I mean, I know who he is. I shook his hand today. He's an astronaut. He's accomplished. I think he's probably a cool operator. Those guys that do that are, they're not cowboys like they're portrayed. They're usually mathematicians or something, and they're very intelligent folks. And I think that would offset her completely.
All right.
So I think
it's interesting. You got a lot of flack. We don't need to play the soundbite, but you got a flack because you called Harris the DEI hire. And there's an argument for that, right? Because Joe Biden laid out he was going to pick a black woman. When you lay out those criteria, making assumptions and hiring decisions based on something other than merit. So there's two sides to that story. But now when you criticized her, you went after her on the issues, on the border. You can also go after her on Ukraine, where she went over 2 or 3 days before the invasion. She was supposed to be the one to lay down the law to Vladimir Putin at the Munich Security Conference, and Vladimir Putin thumbed his nose at her. Then there's the voting rights thing. She was going to lead the charge on federal voting rights. It blew up in her face when 2 Democratic senators said no thanks after 6 months of work. Are Republicans better served by going after her on the issues than the cheap attacks?
I think so. I mean, I don't care. Look, everybody's got to decide what they're going to do. Every time we say something, they're going to claim it's a race, and really, to me, it's kind of an insult, because when somebody truly is a racist, we got Nazis out here, we've got people that are very bad people, but it's almost the Chicken Little thing. They cry about it, and then when it really does happen, these Nazis and these dirtbags like that, then people just like, it just kind of falls off. So on the DEI thing though, but let me read you a quote from President Biden. "Diversity, equity, and inclusion are the core strengths of America. I'm proud to have the most diverse administration in history." And he goes on to say, "It starts at the top with the vice president." That's the president's own words. So why are they not threatening to censor Joe Biden? Why isn't some camera?
Well, respectfully, Congressman, you could argue the fact that the Democratic Party just pushed out the President of the United States was them censoring Joe Biden. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.